Annie Zalisco has brought in Ray Manzarek to talk about Jim Morrison. We had Jonathan Cain from Journey calling us from a golf course once, but we have never had badass rockers like we do today. We have two of the Scropions in studio. We have group founder Rudolf Schenker, lead guitarist Matthias Jabs joining us. Gentlemen, how are you?
Very good. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Oh, it is great to have you guys. It's showtime tonight. You excited? Obviously, Arizona loves you very much, and you love Arizona. You once wrote a song about our state.
Absolutely. It's on our album Blackout, which came out in 1982, because we were so inspired here by the girls and the climate of Arizona.
Yeah, you know,
in
that's
that order, and we had to write a song about this.
It's a recurring theme for people who come to Arizona. They're like, "Wow, the chicks are hot here."
Goes along with the weather.
And I'm sure it's even better if you're a rock star.
We have a nice cool one out there today.
When we came into the building, we had the same feeling like maybe in 82 or 80, the girls, oh my God! Even when they're changed maybe because they're not 20 years older, but, it's still rocking here.
Well, for you guys to still be just powering on the way that you have, it's absolutely remarkable. And to think that you founded the band in 1965 and you broke out of post-war Germany to become just worldwide sensations. When you look back, does it amaze you how far you've come?
Of course. I mean, the point was that the chance that you maybe make more than 20 years, there was so small, especially as Scorpions from Germany, because nobody want to listen to or want to know about German rock music. But we somehow we were so into the American and English music, and we ignored German krautrock, kind of. We said, no, we don't want to do that. We felt we were born in the wrong place. We went into foreign countries. And then we noticed that the people like us very much. And that was for us as a gang. Scorpions always was a gang.
Right.
Going around the world and making people happy, building bridges between generation, between religion, between different systems. That's the reason why we start playing already in Russia, playing in Egypt, in Israel, in South America, everywhere, to really get also people knowing that from Germany, a different generation growing up, they're not making war, they're making music and bringing love. That's what was our really strong desire.
And I read a story once, and maybe you can tell me how true this is, Rudolph, that in post-war Germany, you got exposure to a lot of American GIs. And with that, you got some of the American culture, the blue jeans, the rock and roll, and that kind of helped shape what your sound was going to be.
Exactly. The AFN was a great station. You can see it still that the north of Germany has a different music taste than the south of Germany, because in the south of Germany, the American guys were with the AFN radio. So, and that's the reason why rock and roll is stronger in South Germany than in North.
Wow. Now, it took a while for the band to kind of launch. You had to get your lineup straight. You obviously were a key addition, Matthias. Is it true that you auditioned 140 guitar players before you got this guy?
Exactly. We had guys from Pretty Things, from Procol Harum, from
what did he say?
What a waste of time.
It's no waste of time.
Yeah.
Because if you go first a hard road, and then you go back, and I had Matthias already in my mind, but I said, okay, we don't want to maybe not losing the possibility of maybe getting somebody. We noticed, but by checking these people out in England, no, we need to be a German band to really be more stronger, because it's always difficult, for us as German, talking German and having somebody else, a guitar player, who speaks English and can't understand us.
Right.
In this case, Matthias already, I called him and said, Matthias, we are bored. We want to play a little bit music. You have time. We want to make a session sometime to check him out, not put the pressure on him. And he said, yeah, no problem. Let's go. So, and then we noticed that he plays already the Scorpion stuff. And knows how this goes. And we said, why we don't have to get somebody else? Here is the right man. Comes from Hanover, and it's perfect for us.
Now, Love Drive hits, and boom, in the States. What was that like to be a German rock band and then suddenly take over America the way you did?
I mean, Love Drive was my first album with the Scorpions, and it was also the first worldwide release. And soon after the release of Love Drive, we played like a European tour first, but it was the first time ever coming to the States. And we found a great management. They were also taking care of Ted Nugent and Aerosmith, and that's why we were, brought over to the States to be the support band for Ted Nugent and AC/DC as a special guest.
Right.
Like for 6 months, like right out of the box, it was perfect. I remember the very first show ever in the States. I was at the Cleveland Municipal Stadium.
Yeah.
They've torn down, meanwhile.
What a pit.
And it was like we played at like 10:30 in the morning, like an added-on like opener, I guess. And we were supposed to play 35 minutes. After 45 minutes, we still played, and then they went like we got nervous a little bit. Yes, we need to pull the plug. How can we tell these Germans that they need to stop now? But we pretended we don't speak English. we kept going. So actually there was like Neil Sean was there. He woke up early just to see us. Joe Perry, and other people like from the lineup. There was a great lineup. It was like Ted Nugent headlining, Aerosmith. Thin Lizzy. I don't know the order. Like AC/DC, Journey.
Nice show.
Unfortunately, I lost the T-shirt. But it was like a lineup like this.
Right.
Unthinkable these days. So that was our very first appearance in America, and then the first tour went great, and it was AC/DC with Bon Scott. Still, it was just fantastic.
Oh, you know what? I got to see AC/DC with Bon Scott back in the day, and there was nobody like that guy. I mean, with all due respect to Klaus, he was a very different kind of lead singer.
Yeah, it was very, very unique. I mean, we just
and Klaus can sing.
Right, that's
yeah.
You're right. Bon just kind of spoke.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
Nothing against Bon.
Right, nothing against Bon. God rest his soul.
It was just great.
All right, we have got the Scropions in studio. One more segment. They are live tonight in downtown Phoenix. There's a handful of tickets remaining. If you want to get to the show, get down to the box off, right?
That or you go to Ticketmaster.com now, or there'll probably be some at the door as well.
Back with the Scropions right after that. All right, all you rock and roll fans in the Valley, you better be mobilizing Scropions tonight, downtown Phoenix at Comerica. Danny Zalisco, so kind to bring in a couple of rock gods into studio. Rudolf Schenker, founder of the group. Matthias Jobs, lead guitarist for the Scropions. Let's talk about your sound a little bit, guys, because not only do you have just the great rock and roll crunch, but you've just got those catchy hooks. How did you develop the Scorpion sound? How did it evolve? And how did you just lock into something that has really lasted the test of time?
First of all, I think America was a very important part in our career. Because in America, we learned really, because America is the country of rock and roll. We learned really by having Ted Nugent or some other bands supporting them and learning what it means to be entertainer also. And also listen to the music at the time in the radio, rock radio. We don't have rock radio in Germany. We have now, but we didn't have in these days. So in this case, we were living rock and roll. The groupies, everything was there.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola, the tour bus driving through to United States. This was our inspiration. That's the reason why the Zoo was happening, the song, the Zoo.
Right.
I composed the song in
Great
front
song.
of a TV. There was a tornado warning, and I played something. And when the tornado warning was off, I said, "Oh, what's that? Great!" I started immediately to write a song. 2 days before, we had this walk in the zoo in New York,
Right.
and immediately Klaus heard the song and said, "Oh, I have an idea." So this is a very important part, that the music of the Scorpions became bigger and bigger arena kind of rock.
Right.
And I think that was a very important part. And also not being concentrated too much on Europe and United States, also, or Canada, playing in South America, playing in Asia. We were somewhere playing the first bands ever playing somewhere in Russia.
Right.
So that helped us to survive, survivors. When grunge came in, when grunge was big in Europe and in United States and Canada, we played in Asia. We had big sales, 20 times platinum in Thailand. the most selling band ever in Thailand, or Malaysia, or Indonesia, or it's fantastic. That's brought us over the week time, and here we are back again in a circle.
Right.
Rock is back, classic rock.
Amazing?
So here we are.
Now, I go back to Worldwide Live, which was a tour and a live album that just changed a lot of people's lives. It was also something that came at the height of your popularity. The wall had gone down, and suddenly you guys, as you mentioned, you're going from country to country, and the synergy of it all was just really amazing. Where does that experience rank in all of your travels and your experiences?
I mean, looking back, we are still busy today. The only way to realize in between what we've done throughout the many years and decades is when I watch a documentary about us. That then all the memory comes back.
Yeah.
I mean, we have good memories about what we've been doing when we talk about. Remember, like 35 years ago in Tokyo or whatever. We all agree upon we did that and that. But Worldwide Live was the first major. It was even bigger than the Blackout Tour in '84, and I think it set our level, and we were very successful, and we played the biggest arenas, and this lasted throughout the '80s, and I think at the Crazy World Tour in '91, I remember after 6.5 months being in the States, the promoters asked us to do another round, so we stayed another 9 months. And you can see at the Worldwide Live album, it was like 220-something shows per year.
Oh.
And with all the travel involved, so we were really very busy. In comparison to that, we only play 100 shows per year, which is still a lot if you see that we, change continents all the time.
Right.
And so there's a lot of traveling involved. And, I'm glad what Rudolph just said, that we are able to play in places like Alaska, but also New Caledonia, where nobody knows where it is. Which is actually
kind of cool.
On the side of New Zealand.
Right.
So, you like in 10 hours flight down from Tokyo. So we played there 2 shows at a great outdoor theater right at the ocean. And, we can play basically everywhere in the world.
Right.
And this is fantastic.
I know a lot of people have speculated whether or not this is actually your farewell tour. And I know maybe you are having mixed thoughts about it, that maybe it's time not to be out there so much as we are. But at the same time, this is who we are, this is what we do, and people want to hear us play, so why the hell not? How do you look at this?
I mean, it's difficult. We made the decision 2 years ago after the release of Sting in the Tail. The album said, okay, let this be the last studio album, and followed by, and the Scropions tour usually takes 2.5 years to get around the world. And so we said, okay, maybe the farewell tour, if we announce it now, it's fair. Everybody knows it will be the last time. And let it run for 3 years maybe, because we will play certain places twice. We already could see that. But, we are coming towards the end now. But it's
don't leave.
I know we feel great. We have so much fun.
Right.
We feel in great shape, and basically it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you're right.
The way we feel today, it doesn't make any sense at all. But overall, looking, maybe it's the best thing we can do.
To stop on a high note is very important. We're running a lot on stage, and when and in the age, like Klaus and me, 64 Klaus, 63 me,
wow.
You never know until you can give what you want to give. And we notice on this tour, by really running and doing, that it takes a lot of power. We not want to come in a position that we don't have fun anymore on stage. We have to do our job because people want to see us.
Yeah.
So we want to come in this position. We want to end on a high note. Maybe here and there, one Sherry concert or whatever is fine. We're not going. We have still a cinema film which comes out next year. What we're doing now, we have some other things which we want to give to the fans as a present and stuff. But we not want to be in the position and the pressure to do a tour like this. It's really hard.
And I'll tell you something. Yeah. I saw the show last night
in Albuquerque, New Mexico,
and I see these guys perform on stage, and you would think for sure you're looking at guys in their 20s.
Yeah,
there is no possible way. They're freaks of nature.
Yes.
Is what I'm telling you. When they're on stage, you do have a lot of fun. And the audience is just feeding all of it back to the stage.
Yeah.
Klaus is in the best vocal form I think I've ever heard him. It's like a fine wine, the whole thing. So I wouldn't rule out this would be the last time you'll ever see Scorpions playing in Arizona.
Right.
But I understand what he's saying about the touring aspect. It's very grueling. You know, I mean, it's just day after day after day, but you get to go to that show, and for 100 minutes or 2 hours or whatever it is, these guys get to be they're the kings of the world when they're up there.
When you play in Russia, you have 7 time zones. And there is sometimes concert from one to each other for 3,800 kilometers. It's maybe like...
it's like crossing the ocean.
Yes, right.
Right.
So, and you know, you wake up and you say, what is now? What time is now and stuff? You know, and also going from Germany to United States, you know, always in this kind of crossing this long distance. Now we go to South America after the American tour. And, you know, it's really a tough thing.
The thing is, we've been doing this without a break since 34 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Since we came to the States for the very first time in that year, 1979, after I just had joined, we never had a break. Some bands take time off for solo albums, or they take a break or whatever, then they're back together. The Scorpions have never done this. We are constantly touring or in the studio, and therefore the thought to like slow it down and you know,
we
Probably
did the highest
show here and there.
The record of the highest, because we are Sport Channel here. We played on the highest stadium in the world, in La Paz, 3,750,000. Bolivia. It was fun.
Was
I tell
altitude
you
a
one
problem?
thing.
Were you gasping for air after a while?
The airport was 4,200
300 meters, which in feet is like just like times 3.
Yeah.
We are talking something like 13,000 feet altitude.
Yeah.
That's where you land. Then you like spiral down to the city and the stadium. This is where like Brazil loses 4-0 and Argentina 6-0.
Everybody's losing.
Second half.
They can't breathe.
And Bolivia's winning at home all the time. We played to a sold-out stadium, but what it was like
40,000 people. Yeah,
it was
around
sold
40.
out. And great. We play again in September in Veracruz, which is the sea level.
Right.
I tell you, we had our plane with a plane for band, crew, and equipment. It's the only way you can travel in South America.
Right.
And so we are landing on this highest airport in the world, or one of the highest.
Yeah, 4,200.
But we couldn't take off again, coming down. So we had to have a second plane that took half of the cargo. So 2 planes, because the other one was too heavy. The air's too thin for the plane to take off. So we are
That's
both with
amazing.
2 planes going down to Veracruz, where we play on this tour
exactly,
now.
yeah.
And then it was like loaded back onto the big plane. And then we went on to Brazil.
That's crazy.
I know. It's all this stuff that's going on, by the way.
And that's what you want to do with your band, right,
Oh,
Dan?
no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Bolivia.
Exactly. One day I want to play Bolivia at 13,000 feet, and I can't even
But
breathe.
also great was playing in Manaus in this big
Jungle.
Sambadrome, no?
Yeah, Zambadrome.
Yeah, fantastic.
Where they have the Brazilian carnival in that. It's
Yeah.
like
Right.
Also like 35, 40,000 people.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. In the middle of the jungle in
Yeah.
Manaus.
You guys must have so much footage.
Unbelievable.
Swimming with the pink dolphins
Dolphins. Yeah.
was fantastic.
Wow.
In the Amazon.
Now, you've also had a long history with Arizona, as you were saying.
Oh, yeah.
They've been back. First time they were
Well,
here was when?
Rio
Dave?
Negro. Yeah,
It was about 1980, I think. I want to say 80.
1980?
Yeah.
Compton Terrace?
We've done
I heard
a lot of
Matthias say.
Yeah, when we had Def Leppard as a support band.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Def Leppard started headlining after that. It was an incredibly rich time for music when all this began, which is why it still continues to this day.
Yeah.
You set the bar up so high, and they keep hitting it and going past it.
Yeah.
Live, on records,
I agree.
everything, and there's no reason why this music doesn't continue the way it does.
That's the one thing that the beauty of you guys, and you have a lot of things that make the Scorpions great, but your live sound is so true, and it is basically identical to what you get on an album. And that's not the case with a lot of bands.
But for us, it's very important to give, because we as fans, that's the reason why we're doing that. we always were very unhappy when we saw a band that plays something completely different than on the album, because you're so used to it. And you, in these days, I wasn't a musician, a real musician then, but I was a fan.
Right.
So from the fan point of view, you want to hear the songs like you hear it on the
Only more
album.
powerful, just
Yes.
more power to
Yeah,
it.
with the
But you don't have to
extra
change
energy.
it.
I mean, our music is handmade, and that's we know what we are doing
Yeah.
in the studio and on stage.
Yeah.
It's not too many
I like
background
that.
stuff
Handmade.
going on. Yeah, handmade.
And attitude is very important. It's the fuel of rock and roll. Attitude.
And you guys have it. Boys, have a great show tonight. This is an absolute pleasure for us and for our listeners. Sports fans, by the way, as we've told you, huge Scorpion fans. You can't walk into a sports arena or venue anywhere without getting a dose of Scorpions. I'm sure you guys have noticed that.
Great. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
lots of sports events like hockey and
Yeah.
they love Rocky Like a Hurricane or 3-2-1. Are you ready to rock?
Oh,
We
yeah.
heard a lot about it. It's all over the world like this.
Yeah. All right, anybody who hasn't gotten tickets for tonight's show, a handful of tickets available. Get down to the box office. Get to Ticketmaster.com. Scorpions tonight live in downtown Phoenix. Rudolph Schenker, Matthias Jobs, thank you so much.
Thank
God
you.
bless you guys.
Right.
Thank you very much.
very
I'm
much.
Dan Bickley. We're back right after this.